One of our news
Mm-hmm.
bits is actually a bit of personal news. And anybody that's been listening since the first episode, we're here at episode 6 right now.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, wow, thank you so much for sticking with us this far, all the way to episode
Yeah.
6. That is some diehard fans right there, so thank you,
It
guys.
is, and you know,
maybe over the course of time we'll get some more, and you guys can all say, look, we've been there since the beginning.
yeah, and I think it's probably only our 6 Canadian fans.
But one of the things that we've been talking about, and we've actually changed up some things, you'll notice, you probably noticed a difference in the audio for the Ready Player One review, and you'll notice some better quality audio in this episode. One of the things we're changing up is we're not going to do it over video. We're not going to try and sit in the same studio and record it on video and audio. But we're doing that. We're making that change because we can't hardly stand waiting 2 weeks between episodes.
Yeah.
So we're moving to a weekly format. That'll help us keep everything more up to date. It'll help us kind of get it out of our system each and every week. Because I know on the off weeks, it seems like a month between episodes.
It really does. And
during that second
so
week.
much news happens in that period of time too. And it's by the time that we get around to announcing some of these things, it's already gone, and it's not even worth talking about anymore.
Yeah, and I mean it's like reading a video game magazine
Oh yeah,
today, where it's every time I get my Game Informer in the mail,
you already know everything.
It's already 3 or 4 weeks behind in all the news because everything is instant. Everything's online. So I just have the magazines because I like to flip through the pages. I like to read the physical book. But most of the time I get it, I've already seen all the news. And really that's what I was kind of feeling like when we were doing the bi-weekly format. It was like, man, there's so much going on, and it seems like it's going to be forever until we get to record another episode. So we just decided to move to a weekly format.
And on top of that, nobody really wanted to see us anyway. We're
right.
not that
I mean,
pretty.
Let's be honest. I mean, this is much more comfortable for me to not be in front of a camera, or you and I can just have a conversation.
Right.
We don't have to worry about trying to be presentable. Forget about looking good. Just trying to be presentable.
I mean, we can't look good. I mean, that's impossible.
That's right. Forget about that. So at least this way.
Yeah, got to get that out of the system.
At least this way, we can be completely comfortable. We don't have to worry about getting together. This way we can change up the times. If we're not able to do it on a Friday night like this week, we're doing it on Saturday. And if we had to do it early one morning, we can do it, or late one night. We can do it any time through the week. We just get on here and record from our respective offices, and then we can put it all together. And that just makes it so much more convenient for us.
Yeah.
And besides that, next week, 1 week from today, is going to be our official launch.
It
So
certainly is.
we're gonna be over at Tupelo Con. We'll probably get a chance to interview some people and talk about some things to do with that. We're also going to record. We'll talk more about this later. We're going to record the panel we're going to be on. But that is 1 week from today. So it's the perfect time to go to a weekly format.
Absolutely. So, yeah, make sure that you come see us. Oh, yeah, by the way, a week from today, or maybe even tomorrow, depends on the flow of traffic, I guess, we're going to be giving away a Nintendo Switch. And you want to make sure that you're involved in that.
We're of course that's on our Facebook page. Now anybody that wants to get in on that or share that, that's the pinned post on our Facebook page. It tells you all about how to enter to win that Switch. So like we said, we really want to give one away, but we can't do that unless we get to 1,000 YouTube subscribers. And we're going to try to give it away in a week from today.
Yeah.
when we're recording.
Yeah.
So hopefully, if we're not there yet, then we can spend some time at the convention getting up to 1K so we can try to give that switch away.
Yeah. Make sure you come see us. Be glad to meet you.
Yeah, if you're local, yeah, definitely come out and see us, and we'll talk more about that in just a little while. But we've got a few other little news bits, and the one big one, and really this article, and I think you have it on your screen too. It says Disney Flix is coming, and Netflix should be scared. And it's not just talking about Netflix. Of course, Walt Disney Corporation is going to, Walt Disney Corporation is going to try and basically launch their own Netflix with all the Disney movies and all the Marvel stuff and every property that Disney owns, which is almost all of them.
Yeah, I really like the article that we're looking at it's on The Atlantic, or it's titled The Atlantic. It's also on Flipboard.com. But I really like that first sentence that's on the page. It says, "No company has been more responsible for shaping the modern entertainment landscape than Walt Disney," and there's no greater truth to that right now in entertainment. I mean, it's Disney or nothing almost.
Well, and another thing that this article mentions is the fact it mentions something about asking the question, will Disney destroy the movie theater? And that's right there at the top of the page. But I keep thinking about, if Disney doesn't do it, then someone else will. Mm-hmm. It's just a sign of the times. I mean, the article goes into, of course, all the cable money that the Disney Corporation has been raking in. But we're rapidly approaching a time when cable is going to be a thing of the past. More and more people are cutting the cord and just streaming.
Yeah,
everything.
because of services like Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime, and at our house we have Amazon, Netflix, Hulu, and then Sling TV, right,
which allows you to kind of pick and choose what you want. And we have all of those services for cheaper than a satellite service. So we just did away with the satellite service.
Well, the only reason we still have satellite
went completely.
Yeah, the only reason we still have satellite right now is because we've got the 2-year price on it, and because we have the cell phone service with AT&T, we get really good.
Yeah, you bundle everything, and they do as good a job as they can at least giving you some kind of incentive to sign up with their network.
Of course.
But we're approaching a time when that's going to be such an antiquated model. Everybody's going to go to streaming. Besides that, the fact that I can watch it on my TV or my phone or my iPad or wherever I am, I can pull up all the same things no matter where I am. That's what everything is going to.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. And
I'll hate the day if the day ever comes when the movie theater is a thing of the past. I'll hate that. But the truth is, I have a 100-inch screen at the house that when I'm sitting in that room and that projector's projecting onto that screen on my wall, it might as well be a movie theater. It's just more private.
Yeah, no kidding. And two, there's going to be a point where they're going to realize that they're going up against the people that are pirating these movies anyway. So there's going to be a point where Disney's going to be like, well, if I'm going to release it, I might as well release it and put it on this streaming platform. If they've got their own streaming platform, it's just a matter of time before they're going to decide, well, for this extra $10, you can rent it for an hour or 2 hours or however long the movie is or whatnot.
Well, and honestly, like there's a question in quotes there about halfway down, I guess, but it says, what if Disney put highly anticipated films like Black Panther on its own streaming service, and that would be available to subscribers? Well, you're going to have people like me that want to collect movies and things like that, and physical games, physical movies. I like to have them on the shelf. But the truth is, if I knew that Disney and other companies were always going to have the latest movies directly to their streaming service, I'd pay another $10 a month for Disney's streaming service if I knew all of their movies were going to come straight.
Well,
to
what's going to end up happening though is they're going to pull all of their stuff from Netflix. They're going to pull all of it, which
right. Well, that's what I'm saying. You're gonna have to, because they have so much between the Marvel and all the Disney films. They have so much on Hulu and Netflix. There's some Disney stuff on Hulu too, I think.
oh well, there's Marvel stuff certainly, yeah.
Yeah.
Runaways,
and,
I think.
And then on our Roku, we have Disney Now and some other Disney apps that are on the Roku. All of that will be combined into their streaming service. So you just have one service to watch all of that and pay them monthly for that. Well, that'd be a lot easier. I mean, I'd prefer that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I just think that it's gonna.
And they just picked up all the Fox properties, and I know they're still kind of waiting on the judgment to come down on that about whether or not it's a monopoly.
Yeah, there's
Which,
that.
I mean, to me, you probably could have called this a monopoly a long time ago.
Yeah.
When you're talking about not just Disney, most people think it's just the Disney Channel, but it's ABC, Freeform, ESPN, all of the 15 ESPN networks.
Yeah,
that's all Disney.
15.
And then Marvel, Star Wars, and now Fox. And I mean, what else is there? Why don't they just go ahead and buy Sony and buy out Warner Brothers and DC and just get it over with?
I think it's they're gonna probably end up doing kind of like what they did with Fox. Is I would be. I don't know if we'll see it in our lifetime, but it'll be just a matter of time before we see Warner Brothers try to part out some of their stuff, especially if they keep bombing out in the box office. And I don't really see them bombing out so much as maybe disappointing, with the movies.
Well, I can see them taking the route of let's just let other people. Not really. I wouldn't say they would sign away their properties like Marvel did with like Spider-Man and X-Men and Fantastic Four. Just completely sign them away. But they might sign like okay, you can buy these rights for this year or these 2 years. You can make this movie, but then the rights revert back to us.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's a possibility. There's always that option. Speaking, we were talking about Fox properties. You and I have discussed, and it's probably been a couple of months ago now, and we discussed it on our probably our first or second podcast. We talked about the Fox properties showing up in Infinity War, and
looks like that may
yeah,
be.
well, at least part of them, and there's always that gray area. We talked about the Silver Surfer showing up, and I posted something a couple weeks ago to our Facebook, and it just kind of came out of nowhere, and it was posted on Metacritic that an actor named Kurt Clendenin or something along those lines has been listed. I don't know the guy. I'm not familiar with him, but he's shown up on there and on the cast list as playing Silver Surfer in Infinity War. Now, they could be pulling something similar to what they did with Quicksilver when Quicksilver showed up in both in Fox, and then they turned around and did the same thing in Age of Ultron. So it's a good possibility that they could be doing something similar to that, where that maybe they don't call him Silver Surfer in that film until a lot of these this red tape gets removed. I don't know, but it's interesting to think that he might actually show up.
Well, and he plays such a big part in from the get-go.
Yeah,
and that was why I asked you the question. I was like, do you think there's any chance he might play a part in it? But
if he does, it'll be small.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be awesome if you just get a little glimpse.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That'd be great.
Absolutely. It'll be kind of like, seeing, I don't know, the ET creatures in in
Right.
Star Wars. It's just a little cameo. Even if
It's all the same universe.
it is, but even if that's all you get, I'll probably leave and not even finish watching the movie because I'll be happy enough. But which is not true. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna watch some.
I guess when you get right down to it, I would be perfectly fine with the Disney flicks. I would add another $8 to $10 subscription.
Right. Yeah, no doubt.
To my monthly bills in a heartbeat if it includes every Disney property,
Right.
everything they own.
Yeah.
I'd be on that. Well,
Quickly.
you also sent me a couple of articles, and this first one was kind of going along with our horror theme.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I was flipping through the other day, and one of the notifications that I got was, we talked about having this theme as the scary movies or whatnot because of Friday the 13th. And then we talked about some of the old black and white films that kind of got the whole genre started. And Nosferatu was one of those characters that you might remember, and he's an old vampire movie. And for those of you that may not,
he's so creepy.
he was
looking.
very creepy looking, and there's no hair, and he's got the long fingers, and he's got the vampire. He's not like, lucky for us, he's not Kate Beckinsale, but that's. He's got the vampire teeth that are the two front teeth. Those are the ones that actually turn into the fangs. So what I saw was it was a stylized version of that word. It's Nosferatu. So it's Nosferatu, N-O-S, the number 4, A, and then the number 2. And it looks like they're actually going to do, it's AMC, and they're going to do a 10-episode series, and it's based on a book by Joe Hill. I haven't read it, but it's like a straight-to-series order supernatural horror drama. And this is...
Sounds right up our alley.
I mean, I feel like it'll fit. And I'll probably catch at least a few seasons of it. I'll probably end up treating it like it did The Walking Dead. I'll watch 4 or 5 seasons, and then I'll just get bogged down with something else that I'm watching. And then, but this is kind of the way that they introduce it. It's actually on Deadline.com. It's Nosferatu introduces Vic McQueen, a young working-class artist who discovers she has a supernatural ability to track the seemingly immortal Charlie Manx. Manx feeds off the souls of children that deposit what remains of them into Christmas Land, a twisted Christmas village of Manx imagination, where every day is Christmas Day and unhappiness is against the law.
I like this place.
Yeah,
already.
no kidding. I don't know. It sounds interesting. It says Vic must strive to defeat Manx and rescue his victims without losing her mind or falling victim to him herself. So it sounds interesting, at least a little. I'll remain from making a strong judgment about it until I see more information.
Well, and it's one of those things, like you said, neither of us have read the book.
Yeah.
And just reading that one little bit, it's like this could be interesting. So I'll give anything a shot. I mean, I'm not very picky when it comes to new shows. I'll at least try a couple episodes.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's see. One of the other things that I thought would be interesting, my brother Scott will love that I'm talking about this. We've talked about the past couple of years, Valiant Universe. Back when I was growing up, we would my granddad would take us to Pontotoc, Mississippi, and probably anybody from Pontotoc will hate that I'm calling it Pontotoc instead of Pontotoc, but that's another story, and we'll talk about that later. But
don't you know your Mississippi
I'm
words?
telling you, man, it's like it's on the way to Lafayette County, and you stop in Pontotoc. I'm sorry, I'm probably offending half of the people that are listening to us. Either that or they're just laughing at me. I don't know.
That's just the way we talk.
It's the way that we talk. It's the fact that I'm not from around here. But anyway, let's see here. Anyway, we would go and it was about the time that Valiant was really taking off. Valiant was a small independent comic book company. They had like Exo Manowar, they had Ninjak and Turok, and Turok might ring a bell for you because they had several really successful Turok, the Dinosaur Hunter games. And
yeah, I played some Turok.
Was
I have a Turok. I have a couple of Turok comics.
Yeah.
Too.
Well, see, the weird thing about like Turok, and it was Magnus the Robot Fighter and Solar. Those three characters were actually they were originally Gold Key, which was another independent company years and years ago. And Valiant actually bought the rights to publish those characters. And those characters had a lot to do with they were integrated into the origin stories of a lot of the other characters throughout the Valiant universe. And one of those was it was Rye, and Rye was had a lot to do with the Bloodshot. And I want to say that they've just greenlit. Yeah, as a matter of fact, Vin Diesel just announced maybe a week or so ago that he was signed on to play Bloodshot in a film, which will actually I'll be excited to see that. But I'm rambling on about several different things at the same time. But the main point is that we grew up watching or reading Valiant comic books, and there is Bat in the Sun. It's a company that takes a lot of these characters, and we've talked about Bat in the Sun before, and they took Captain America and they pit him against the Master Chief, and they did like a live action battle between those two characters. And then they've done Superman and Thor, they've done Wonder Woman and Wolverine, and they've done...
Yeah, that's the one, reading the article here on Bleeding Cool. That's the one that stood out to me. Is like they began the panel by showing their Wonder Woman versus Wolverine short from a few months ago.
Yeah, and the people that they picked to play these characters are really good, and they fit the characters very well. And as a matter of fact, Jason David Frank, he's actually playing Bloodshot in this film. What they're doing, what Bat in the Sun is doing is they're taking a storyline that was from Valiant Comics, one of the newer versions of Valiant Comics, and it's called Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe, and they're creating a feature-length film, but they're doing it in what appears to be smaller segments. So once all that's completed, then it should be feature-length. And I'm really excited to see. I'm not exactly sure when that's coming out, but that's something that I definitely want to watch, and we may even want to put the link up or share that on our Twitter or Facebook.
Yeah, definitely. We could share all of these links that we're using to look at for the episode.
Absolutely. So. And this to me, it kind of hits home because that's something I really grew up kind of getting into. I really love the Exo Manowar comics.
And we may be spending some time not too far from now. We may do an episode on the Valiant comics, and like I said, talk more about our history with those, and just get like just a full-on comics episode going, because we mentioned it here and there, and of course a lot of the movies we're talking about are comic book movies, but it's a whole different thing to have actually experienced these comics growing up.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we could do one where we talk about we could talk about Valiant, we could talk about excuse me, Image Comics, and just comics in the 90s, and just kind of the influx of like independent companies and how popular they were at that time. Yeah. And that would be a lot of fun. I'd enjoy doing that. And even how they have influenced pop culture, even though we may not realize how important they were at the time.
Yeah, and we're going to do, I don't know I don't know how many weeks it'll be from now, but we are going to try to do a history of the comic book movie episode, and that'll involve a lot of '90s things.
Oh yes, absolutely. That'll be fun. That'll be fun.
But that's all of the little news bits we had.